It's a Thursday night, Moda Center, Portland, Oregon, a game that doesn't count. The stage is set, however, for two franchises that recently traded assets. How would it go down? You knew where your eyes were going to be this entire game. It was going to be on DeAndre Ayton. It was going to be on Jusuf Nurkic. And that's what we got. We got a little show. We got a little preview of what might to come this season, of what Phoenix can be, even without players such as Grayson Allen, Josh Okogie, Bradley Beal. The Phoenix Suns win 122-111 in a game, again, Matthew, that just simply doesn't count. But did it count to you?
Hell yeah, it did. The first half, everyone was playing hard. DA wanted to prove something, and he did. He had a blocked shot, talked some shit, went to the bench, and that was it.
Did he say fuck the Suns? That's Well, of course. Again, it's a preseason game, so there's only so much you can take from it, but you can take some things. There's some intangibles that occurred in this game that you have to be excited about as a Phoenix Suns fan. And while the production ultimately doesn't count, what we saw on the court has us sitting here smiling. It has a lot of DA stands kind of eating some of their words and rolling back some of their thoughts in the past and saying, you know what, I blindly believed in this guy for so long. And it's something that we've always said, like, we want our players to do well. We're never rooting for somebody to not play well. But if they're not playing well and there's factors that are causing that to occur, we are going to talk about it. We are going to be critical. We are fans. We're not the happy-go-lucky, everything is awesome, it's a Lego movie kind of fans. No, we're realists. And when we watch players perform or underperform, we talk about it. And some of that, a little part of that was validated tonight. So we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about a lot of other things here on the Suns Jam Session podcast. But primarily that is what I'm guessing, right, Matthew?
Yeah, I hope so. We got to take it as it comes, man, with this Ayton watch. We only got, 5 more?
Yeah, 4 more? I think we will. I bet you he does not play on Monday. I can almost guarantee you that.
You think he won't even walk in the arena, right?
Yeah, he won't even dress and sit on the bench.
He hates the staff. He hates everybody in Phoenix.
He hates the floor. He hates the towels and the towel boy.
He hates cactus.
Yeah, he does. He hates the sun. He hates the Suns. Maybe that's what he's saying. Fuck the sun.
Yeah, maybe because he's in Portland, right? That's the Great Depression over there.
It's a little gloomy up there in the PDX. So obviously plenty to talk about on this edition of the Suns Jam Session podcast. My name's John. His name's Matthew. John and Matthew Jam. See what we did there? If you didn't know, now you know. Make sure you subscribe, rate and review. Give us a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube now or later. And give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts if you get it, or don't. Nobody does it anymore. We haven't had a fucking 5-star review, Matthew, since May, I think. And I think it was my saint of a mother who did it. So don't review us, guys. I don't really care. Although it's nice to read those on the air, and it's great to hear the funny things that you guys put in there. At the end of the day, that's not really why we're here for 5-star reviews. We're here to just talk about Phoenix Suns basketball. It's so fun that it's back, and I'm so excited that we got to watch a game today against the Portland Trail Blazers and a former Sun who says fuck the Suns, DeAndre Ayton. So pop him if you got him. Read my writing at brightsideofthesun.com. Try not to get this all over my computer, and let's pop right into our intro. That's right, Suns fans. It was a game in which we had to go up to Portland, which was a homecoming for a lot of different players as well. Obviously, Jusuf Nurkic, Keon Johnson, Nasir Little, Drew Eubanks, 4 members of the Portland Trailblazers last season are now rostered on the Phoenix Suns. But I got a different question to start off this one, Matthew.
Oi, Matty. Mate, I've got to ask.
Still out is Ish Wainwright and Damian Lee. Obviously, Damian Lee just had surgery on his meniscus issue. Ish Wainwright still not out there. Drew Eubanks didn't play in this game, had a left ankle sprain. Okogie and Grayson Allen were both out with rest. Bradley Beal was out with lower back tightness. So my question to you, Matty, mate, I got to ask, is there any concern with Beal landing on the injury report for you?
When I saw on Twitter, I'm like, oh, so it begins, but it's the wrong guy. I don't really think you think of injuries too much with Beal just because of tanking and stuff in Washington, but I wasn't too worried. I think they played it safe, right? You can't really bench all three of them, so I'm pretty sure next game they will have someone else out. I'm sure Kevin Durant will sit out.
Probably.
Beal will be back in. The only thing that sucks is the first home game in preseason where it's a sold-out crowd where they didn't play any of them. That was kind of shitty to me. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
I thought you just play them for a first quarter and then sit them out some of this game. Like, obviously, Book wants to play because they're playing against DeAndre Ayton in this game, but maybe that's why they did it. They didn't want the back-to-backs really right now in the preseason, but I just think right now, dude, sit them as they don't need to play the preseason anymore. So I'm just looking forward to these guys not playing again. I don't really care.
Yeah.
I've seen what I've seen. First game was amazing. This game was even better. So I think we had enough until the season starts.
We're so excited and we're impatient, but err on the side of caution. If he's telling you there's a lower back tightness, or he's just like, I just want to kick it on the sideline and make funny, memeable faces when I'm granted with a stat sheet, That's what I'm going to do in this game. And yes, as Suns fans, we're unbelievably excited, but we're also 12 days away from the start of the regular season. Take turns. And that's, you're 100% correct. The Suns are going to be in Phoenix playing the Portland Trailblazers on Monday. And I bet you that KD's sitting out on this one. And then probably the next game, which I believe is in Palm Desert to play the Lakers, which will be the final preseason game, they'll probably all sit out. And that's a good strategy. As much as we want to see them, you don't necessarily need to see them. And while, again, I like to see a little bit more Bradley Beal, we've only seen him one time. I've seen Booker. I've seen Durant. I want to see some Beal in the Suns uniform. I didn't get it tonight, but that's okay, Suns fans. That's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. I think Nurkic is a big one. If he's playing, I think that means a lot because he has to work out kinks with that offense. Even with Beal not being there, I think it's a big deal. I think him and Durant and Booker need to really work on what they're getting down on offense with the screens and the pass. And like everything looked good tonight. So that's why I'm saying the next few games, just sit out because I think they look flawless. It's a young Portland team, but still that team was playing hard and they were just having their way with them at times in that game in the first half.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, toying with them. Should we do the watch?
Do it.
Nurkic watch.
It is Nurkic.
The debut of Nurkic watch.
The answers asked for it, huh?
The debut of Nurkic watch here on the Suns Jam Session podcast. I have notes, man. I don't know about you. Do you have notes?
Yeah, yes.
I got notes.
Not as much as the first game, but yeah. You go ahead and get us started.
I got notes. So this is what I'll start with as it pertains to Nurkic watch. Okay, make no mistake about it. Da athletically is the better player, and you see that up and down the court. The way that Da can move at times, he's the better player. And it was a little frustrating on the front end because Nurk got hit with 2 fouls right away. And I was like, oh, man, they're going to pull Nurk, and we're not going to see what we all came here to see. And I said on the last podcast, get used to the Suns fans. He had 3.6 fouls per game last year. That's tops in the league, although technically didn't qualify because he only played in 52 games. Had he played in a couple more, boom, shakalaka. So as much as we can recognize who DeAndre Ayton is as an athlete, Coach Evan B beat me to the goddamn point in the chat. As much as we can recognize who Ayton is as an athlete, what we saw tonight is why Jusuf Nurkic is the better fit with Phoenix. He has a much, much higher basketball IQ than DeAndre Ayton. And we saw it on display numerous times throughout this game. The passing when this team exploded in that second quarter, right? The first quarter was kind of up and down. Ultimately, the Suns gave up 40 points in that first quarter alone. And you're like, whoa, that's not good. It was 40-37, not playing great defense. But in the second quarter, they outscored them 39-15. And in that second quarter alone, Jusuf Nurkic was 3 of 4 from the field. He had 7 rebounds. He had 4 assists and 8 points in that one quarter. And it was that quarter in which the Suns started to open up their offense. And their offense was flowing through Nurk at times. They were taking turns how it was flowing. But Nurk was it was a master class. There's one rebound, and it's the highlight that's all over Twitter, and you'll see multiple times in which Nurkic gets a rebound, turns, looks up court, and pinpoint passes KD on the fast break for a dunk. That was a master class by Jusuf Nurkic, and DeAndre Ayton was being targeted by the Suns kind of at will in that quarter.
Yeah, he was. And Nurkic gave him the too small thing. Did you see that?
I did.
I didn't see it till someone reposted it. I was like, oh, there you go. Yeah, right after he barreled right into him, man. My favorite part though with Nurkic, you're talking about the IQ. There was a play with Booker where Booker basically he went up for a shot, but it got tipped away. So Nurkic was actually right there with the ball, like right after. He had the IQ right there to just grab it and then look for the easy shot. He did, but he missed it, and then Booker put it back in.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just like, Nurkic he's always having his eyes on the ball. He's always ready to go. He's always the guy that's just like, I know what to do in any kind of situation right now offensively with his team. Like that just made me think. I'm like, so he's always looking for the tip ball. Then after that, what's the next best play? Like he knows what to do. You saw it with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant was like, this is heaven, man.
Yes.
He knew where to hit him. He kind of threw the ball a little too far on one of them, but he knew what Kevin Durant wants to do. He's always looking to pass the ball. And Booker did say like he's going to be the point guard. I guess that's not a lie because that seemed exactly like tonight. Tonight, he just seemed like the point guard at times, but his size and stuff, getting those layups to go in that are kind of crazy. Those obviously don't fall. The subreddit the subreddit chat was talking about how those never fell for 8 years or whatever. And now they're falling for the Suns, of course, against the Blazers. But I think everyone was focused on Ayton, but Nurkic had to like really make a name for himself too. He got traded from Portland and now he's back, and he had to make sure he made Book look good because Book didn't want Ayton there, right? So I'm just saying, right? I mean, he had to make him look good a little bit.
Well, he made them all look good. And I think that I don't know how much we can expect this night to night, but him going back to Portland, all that, we knew we were going to get a good show. We thought from both players. Ultimately, his final stat line, Nurkic in 21 minutes played was 6 of 8 from the field, 4 of 5 from the free throw line. This is another game where he's proving his ability to get to the free throw line. A lot of and ones with Nurkic. He had 17 total points in that 21 minutes. He had a block. He had 2 steals. He had 5 assists. He had 8 rebounds, all in the first half. Conversely, DeAndre Ayton in 23 minutes was 3 of 6 from the field, had 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 7 points, and 1 block. So just kind of a standard DA performance, right? Like not stat stuffing. And whenever you talk about DA, you got to talk about the eye test. And he came out and he was aggressive. He was, they had the one play that he has probably about every 3 weeks where he'll be coming down the middle and he'll actually like jam one home and make it look very highlightable. And it's a good highlight. So good on DA for doing that. But I saw a lot from DA that I saw normally, and that was fading away from the cylinder as his teammates were shooting threes. There's one shot, I think it was Scoot Henderson, shoots a 3. DA is on the side of Nurkic, and he just starts fading away. He's not fighting to go get the rebound. Maybe he's like, oh, my teammate's good, man. He's going to make it, so I don't need to be there, and I need to get back on D. And, of course, there's a long rebound, and the Suns get it because DA's beyond the arc already on defense, or I'm sorry, on the offensive side. And it's plays like that, fading away from the basket, whereas Nurkic is more of a magnet towards it when he's on offense and defense as he's trying to get rebounds. Now, again, due to his athleticism, DA had some really good rebounds over Nurkic because DA's a better athlete. But from a power physicality standpoint, Nurkic was winning that battle, especially in that second quarter. And then, of course, what you see from Nurkic is those just the wrinkles in the offense, where on one play he's doing a dribble handoff with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's coming around the screen, and he doesn't hand the ball off. Kevin keeps rolling, and he hits him on the roll. The next play down the court, they do the same thing, but it's a fake dribble handoff. Then you get a back cut by Kevin Durant, and then Nurkic hits him there for a wide open, 10-footer that he hits. And those are the little things that are going to make this team very tough to defend, because you can never get that from DeAndre Ayton. He didn't have that ability to, although an average passer, he didn't see the court and have that vision that Nurkic has.
Yeah, and the one thing too, subreddit, they talked about it. They're like, give him the ball more to DA. Like, hey, give him the ball. Yeah, we'll go over that.
We've been saying that.
I was
can't
like,
pass it to himself.
Okay, so Nurkic, 17 points in the first half. But did they ever set up anything for this guy, really, right? I mean,
Not
he's just so
really.
smooth at times to get to the three-point line, just stand there and wait his turn, shoots it at ease, goes in. I just think he puts himself in the best position, right? I mean, and basically you just said that, but he goes and gets his points in ways that other players just don't get it. Like, this is the way that DA could have got his points. The way that Nurkic plays is just smart ball. That's all it is. And it's just knowing what to do. And I love how you pointed out too, how when DA is coming down defensively, he does stand. I mean, offensively, he does stand, just doesn't do a whole lot. Kind of hides behind guys again. There was one time when DA was trying to like body up Nurkic and push him out of the way. That was just the one time. Like, I noticed that because, of course, we're watching it the whole time. So I want to see how DA is manning up against Nurkic. And it just didn't go well, because it's like he gets into the games at times, like tonight, where he has a block. He has that big dunk. He has a couple wide open shots at the rim just because there's big lanes, because our defense was just laxed.
Yeah.
But he got there, and then like he was kind of pumped up, but then he doesn't continue, right? And then Nurkic is just kind of running circles around him in a way like a cattle would or something. I don't know, because he's just so slow, but it's just like he kind of plays him off the court. And I'm like, okay, I know it's preseason.
Mm-hmm.
I know it doesn't mean anything,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't fucking care. I love Nurk so much. From what I've seen, I love it. We won the fucking trade. I'm not joking. No, because I'm supposed to say, oh, I'm just joking because it's preseason, right? Because DA will improve. No, he won't. He
didn't do it for 5 years.
No, exactly. So anybody that's like, oh, it's just preseason, doesn't matter. You know what? Nurk could get hurt. Nurk won't play this way all the time. No, he won't. But DA, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah.
And I am just so glad that's gone. And we don't have to talk about it till Monday if he plays.
if he plays. Well, and again, like I remember it was the middle of last season when I started making those statements that I'm like, listen, I think that DA just has a low basketball IQ. Like, he's not very intellectual. Yeah. And a lot of the DA stands got on me for that. They're like, well, how dare you call him stupid? You know, what do you think you're doing? Who do you think you are? I'm like, well, just watch him. Like, he doesn't see the game the way that you would expect somebody of his athletic ability and a number 1 overall pick to do. What makes Devin Booker, Kevin Durant great outside of their work ethic is their court vision and their ability to manipulate defenses when they're on offense. And DA could never manipulate a defense. Nurk, although slower and older and more injury prone and all those little adjectives that you can throw about him, does see the court differently, and it allows you to do much more things on offense. And when you surround him with Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and Eric Gordon and Grayson Allen and a Coke, I mean, it's a kid in a candy store.
This is
insane. His adjectives are also that outside of older, slower, injury prone, screening, outlet passes, transition passes, rebounds. The Suns were attacking DeAndre Ayton in that second quarter, and they were winning because of it. It was screens that led Eric Gordon around and dropping Matisse Thybulle, but DA's not there to stop him. There was a high pick and roll, and Ayton just followed Booker, and there's Nurkic wide open for an easy dunk. So those are the things that, again, we know who the better athlete is, but the Suns were going for fit. And that's what they got with Nurkic. His ability to hit backcourt cutters is something that we're going to be seeing all season long as he's healthy.
Yeah, and let us enjoy this too. These games don't matter, but I want to enjoy this because all over Twitter and stuff, you just see the real basketball guys, like even Kevin O'Connor, excited about Kristaps Porzingis on a few plays, posting his shit. It's like, well, it doesn't matter. No, it does, because these guys, I know it doesn't matter, but he these guys are just out there really playing for minutes, but there's just only 5 games. They want to try to make things work. So it does actually kind of matter. And this is actually kind of what you're going to get most of the time. I just think it's predictable because the Suns offense is just going to be explosive. So 72 points, or was it 72 points in the first half?
I think it was 76.
76, my bad. Yeah, 76 because they're up by 21. That's going to probably happen once in a while.
It's going to happen more than once in a while. And what we'll see and what we need to prepare ourselves for is this is a team that will balloon leads really quick like they did tonight. What was it, a 25-5 run to end that first half?
Yeah.
They have the capacity to do so. Nurkic is the 4th best player on the court, and you could say the 5th if Eric Gordon is out there as well and the way that he can shoot the ball. So what happens? He's the one who's going to get the ball at times. Defenses have to react, and when you have Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Eric Gordon and Devin Booker running around screening everywhere, and he has the ability to see, like Peyton Manning, read a defense and pick it apart, that's a huge aspect and a huge wrinkle that just simply did not exist last year or for the past 5 seasons. I do have a fun stat for you.
Ooh, dang, stat me.
Shout out to the old solar panel
shout
days
out.
with that drop. I looked it up during the game. In 21 minutes, Jusuf Nurkic, albeit in a game that did not count, had 5 assists. Did you see my tweet on this?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so 5 assists for Jusuf Nurkic. DeAndre Ayton played in 348 games with Phoenix, regular season and postseason. How many games did he post 5 or more assists in a game?
I'm going to say 11.
11's correct. You saw my tweet, you son of a bitch.
No, I swear on my
Jeez,
mom's life I did not see it. Was it 11?
You are, yes, it's exactly 11. You are so in tune with
You're
what
such a
DA.
liar.
I swear to God,
11.
it's 11.
Yeah.
3%
I swear
of
to God,
his
I didn't
his
see
games played, he had 5 or more assists.
Wow.
It just goes to show you the word fit, right? This is what the Suns were looking for. Hey, if we can get a big who can play some defense, and again, we still have a lot to see from Nurk on defense. We're not saying he's a great player.
Yeah.
This isn't Nurkic watch when we're like, this is the best guy since Nikola Jokic. But he has some Jokic-esque qualities on the offensive end when it comes to passing, and those were on display tonight. And in turn, it makes DeAndre Ayton look, kind of a little small. Another thing that I noticed about DeAndre Ayton on this one, do you think KD thinks that DA is a chump? Because like every time DA was on him, he shot. He was actively seeking him. Now, granted, Kevin Durant had a rough start to this game. You look at him in the
1
first
for 7 or something.
Yeah, one for 7 is how he started. He ultimately ended much akin to everybody else on that starting 5 in double figures. Everyone but Mr. Little. He ended with 16 points on 6 of 15 shooting, 2 of 3 from beyond the arc. He had 6 assists and 4 rebounds. Kevin Durant did, but he was attacking DA on offense. And there was that one play. Did you see it where DA had KD on him one-on-one deep in the paint? They threw the ball down him. DA took one dribble back into Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant leaned into him, and Ayton just passed right back out.
Did you see after that too? DA was like talking to the ref like he pushed me.
Yeah, yeah.
No, you had the ball down there.
Yeah, dude. All you have to do is turn and do something. But
yeah,
he pushed him.
You know what? And we get to do this, okay? We get to enjoy this now because you know what? On subreddit and stuff in the future for the Trailblazers, if we're looking at other subreddit dudes, like we did it all last year, last 2 years, last 3 years on subreddit, where it's just like these are the things you see that other teams see. They're like, oh, he's soft. When Shaq says we're a soft team because of DA, we were. Now we're not so much, right? But defensively, yeah, Nurkic, they got to work that out because rim protection, it's not looking that good. But I like the fact that nothing. I'm done.
Likes the fact
I'm not going to go anymore.
That nothing.
I think I'm done.
Anything else in your notes on DA versus Nurkic?
Covered it.
Or should I call him Nurkalicious?
Nurkalicious definition make them boys go crazy.
Oh. Just had to throw that in there. Let's see. I did have 2 more things. I wrote low IQ Ayton. There was a play after a free throw that the Suns made where both he and Anthony Simons went out of bounds to throw the ball in. And Anthony Simons had it. and then like Anthony Simons inbound, and DA just stood there for an extra second.
Pissing
It's
me
like
off, dude.
it was those little things, man.
I heard Brogdon yelling at him from the free throw, like DA. I'm like, dude, I'm so glad we're not doing that. I'm not saying he's saying like, hey, you're in the wrong position, whatever. I don't know, like, hey, pay attention. I'm just saying, just guys yelling at DA. The only other thing too, I think that's it. But I just want to point out too, like, okay, so DA's on his own team now, so he does have the opportunity to really step up.
100%.
We saw, of course, Mikal get traded to Brooklyn. They maintain like a good presence there in the East. You know what I mean? So like the difference of like a Mikal and DA, Mikal can go to a team that, you know, doesn't have a lot of guys, right? Claxton's awesome, right? You still have Cam Johnson, but I just think DA has his opportunity here in Portland to really showcase.
Big time.
He does, and he did tonight, and he does in the future. I hope he does. Just kidding. I don't care. I'm so glad he's gone.
So okay, that brings me to my next question. Okay, my next question before we talk about other subjects from this game. All right, so we root for players who leave pretty consistently, right? Like Ricky Rubio, Kelly Oubre, the Twins. Did you find yourself rooting for or against DA tonight? And do you foresee yourself rooting for him in games in which that aren't against the Suns? Because like when Brooklyn is playing somebody, I'm going for him. Kelly Oubre, I'm always going for him. Ricky Rubio, I'm always going for him. Do you foresee yourself rooting for the Portland Trailblazers and for DeAndre Ayton's success?
Yeah, I go for Mikal and Cameron Johnson, but Mikal, it's painful to me to actually watch just because
he's so good.
He's so fucking good, and it's still painful. I'll root for him, of course. I don't want him to do better than the Suns. I don't want that team to do better than the Suns. Ayton, it's something different. It's kind of like no, I don't root for him at all. I root against him, and I wanted the Suns to kill him. I wanted Booker to head to the locker room like he did, like, fuck you guys. Like don't even step on the same court as me anymore. Like when he's walking off, I don't know. I'm pretty sure he shouted to DA and some other guys walking by, but that's what I wanted in this game. It was kind of just an FU. I'm not going to root for you. I'm not, I don't care. I don't know what happened to you and the organization, you and Booker and Kevin Durant. Like we were fans that cheered you on, but you acted like we just hated you so much. We didn't want you to exist or something. It's like we were rooting for you to succeed here. And he's been an a-hole, dude, to us for supporting him for so long. You know what I mean? So I don't root for him at all.
It's crazy because like it's like when you're watching a game and you have no skin in the game. It's like the Chiefs and the Broncos tonight, right? Like if you have zero fantasy players like I did, it's like if you sit there and you watch the game, you're like, after 3 or 4 minutes, you're like, oh, I kind of feel myself pulling for this team. And that's the team I kind of want to win this one, right? When it comes to DA, and I'm trying to understand the psychological aspect as to why, like, I want this dude to fail, man. And I don't know why. Like, that's a dick thing to say. Like, normally, like, if he does great, good. Like, I want him to fortify from human to human, yeah. But from a sports hate standpoint, that's what I mean.
Yes,
from a sports hate standpoint, like, it was the way that he went out. It was the way. It was everything. It was all the nights of trying to understand and seeing the talent and just being frustrated. I've never had a player who I followed so closely frustrate me as much as he has with the talent that he has. To where you're like, dude, like, just and what fortified that and what amplified it was his own words. Like,
yeah, he
would sit there and tell you, he's doing it in Portland. I'm dominating. I'm dominating, fool. And then it's like he's fading away from smaller interior players, and he's hiding from rebounds, and he talks all the talk, but he doesn't walk any of the walks. So, like, if he does poorly in Portland, I'm not going to be upset about it. Whereas, like, if Oubre, when Oubre is a free agent, I'm like, dude, I hope the guy lands on his feet, man. I really like Kelly Oubre, who he was as a player. I don't think he fit with this team, but that's okay. He was cool on the way out. He was cool while I was here. Whereas DA was kind of like, he's like that kid in the class who sits in the corner and just like kind of talks shit. And he smells. He's just kind of an asshole to everyone. And then he transfers to another school, and then, you're at the mall one weekend and you see him and he's like, oh, hey, what's up? And you're like, dude, fuck you, dude. Like, you were the smelly kid who was mean to everybody because you were smelly. Like, I offered you deodorant, bro.
That's a good analogy. That was probably me in school. But DA, the thing that this is why, and the sports hate thing I am for, and that's how I do feel. That's why I was like, fuck this guy tonight. Sports hate. I don't
Yes.
care anymore about, just these guys off the court. They're good guys. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, they take a lot of money. They're going to play half-ass. Like, what's someone just said? I always do that. Keith Nettles said DA took a lot of money and played half-assed, which is
Story of his career.
That's what it is. And he wanted his cake, didn't eat it too, or whatever you say. I think to go out like on just my last note on DA is just he's a liar. And he is. Everyone lies. I'm a liar. Everyone's a liar.
You're lying right now.
But
You knew that I tweeted out 11 times.
No, I
you
swear I did
liar.
not see that.
Everyone
Why
knows
would I
that
lie about that?
You lied.
There's like 111 in front of me, so I'm like 11. I don't know. I just think to lie that much to an organization, to Book, to everyone he played with, and to get Mikal Bridges traded and everything blown up because you never worked on your game. That's why I'm going to sports hate him and not care. And I hope he doesn't succeed. And I don't want, because he's playing in Portland too. I don't want him to do good there and that team get good. Why would I want that? So it's not going to happen for me to cheer him on.
Fair point.
Sorry, that was really dark. Are we done? All that negative energy.
From Indiana University, number 23, Air Gordon.
So Air Gordon gets the start tonight. Ends up playing 18 minutes, 8 of 10 from the field, 3 of 5 from downtown. He had 3 rebounds. He had 2 assists. He had 20 points, Matthew. I got to say, the only notes that I really wrote, I love the fact that this dude is a son.
Oh, my God.
Eric Gordon is fantastic, man.
Oh, my God. He's the strength he has to shoot a 3 that far away, of course, even covered, and just to drain them, and also just get into the paint. And those quick little floaters he has, like they're like last second floaters. He has like, oops, throw it over the big guy. He's like automatic from there. Didn't have a whole lot of assists. I don't have the stats up, I think. But I know that he is good at handling the ball and getting the offense going and getting to the rim. The reverse lay-in to basically end his night.
Mm-hmm.
It's great, man. It's like every other guy we're going to talk about tonight. It's one of those things like, oh my God, I can't believe we have this guy. And I know it's Portland, but whatever, dude. This guy is fucking great.
Well, he was so key in this game because, again, it turned into, in that second quarter, everybody started scoring. I mean, I think of the 76 points in the first half, like 71 of them came from, Gordon, Nurkic, Booker, and Durant. And the way that he operated in his space, the depth that he shows on his 3 points, we've seen it before. We know who Eric Gordon is. We've been watching this guy play for a long, long time. And he's one of those microwave guys who can just get in fuego really quick, take over a game. We've seen him do it to the Suns. We're like, fuck, man, Eric Gordon's beating our ass. Dude, why can this guy ever come to Phoenix? And now here he is. And without Grayson Allen and without Josh Okogie out there, a little bit more weight falls on him. And yes, preseason, whatever. He played fucking fantastic, man. He was a fantastic low-key pickup that not a lot of national pundits are talking about, that is absolutely going to win the Suns probably 2 or 3 games on his own this season, if not more. And we saw it tonight. We saw what Devin Booker always talks about, how his nickname for him is squared up, because when he gets the ball, he instantly knows how to be square. He squares his shoulders to the cylinder and takes the shot, and it's money. And we saw it. There's one play where Devin Booker has the ball at the top of the key, and the defenders, you just see the gravity. The gravity just comes, and the 2 defenders we're going to be all over Book. And Booker just passes over to Gordon. Gordon catches it low. It's a low pass. He catches it, squares, fires 3. That is beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah.
And Klay Thompson was talking about that on the point, or with Paul George, some podcast. Maybe it wasn't Paul George. I don't know. But on a podcast, he was talking about squaring up too, where you just kind of keep your legs always like towards. I don't even know. I can't shoot the fucking basketball. But yeah, that's the way he is, dude. I think no one really talked about it, but I think here in Suns Nation or whatever, Planet Orange, wherever we're at, I really think that was the one thing where when we got him, we were excited because we knew that was the one piece we needed.
It was a big piece.
Instantly see like this automatic where he can start a game because there might be injuries, or he can come off the bench. It doesn't matter, dude. This guy can
and
really
close
do it all
games.
For your offense. Yeah,
close games. Like the ending 5. If you need offense, you pull Okogie, you put in Gordon, And this team offensively, like, he's the fifth guy.
Yeah.
He's the guy standing wide open. And if he's hitting it from the corner, great, but he also can hit him, 33 feet from the basket. He pulls that gravity even further. So, again, it's going to be interesting to see as the preseason comes to an end and the season progresses, how Frank Vogel is going to use him, when and where he's going to use him. Like, that's the exciting thing. The first month of basketball is so exciting because everybody's there and you really start to see the offensive and defensive strategies put forth by a coach, and especially with Vogel being here and a new head coach in him. Like, we don't know what his substitution patterns are going to be yet. We're going to see if he's one of those guys like Monty Williams who falls in love with a Landry Shamet type and just keeps putting him out there, even though the guy goes like 0 for 8 night after night after night. He's like, yeah, man, but he hit one that one time. And so it's going to be exciting to see. Sticking in the same vein of the starters,
Big Dick Booker.
I know it's the preseason. Okay, Matthew, I know it's the preseason. You know it's the preseason, right?
Yeah, it's a preseason. It doesn't matter, but
21 minutes, 18 points, 7 of 15 from the field, 3 of 6 from beyond the arc. He had 5 assists. Body language-wise, and I know it's the preseason. I don't know if you know this, and I'm going to say it fucking again. I know it's the preseason. Offensively, it looks like he leveled up, man. The way he looks on the court is fucking lethal, man. Devin Booker looks lethal, and I know it's the preseason, but he looked fucking good out there, man.
I mean, he missed their first quarter, 15 points. He didn't really start off too strong in the first quarter, but he ended it. And it was one of those games where I'm just like, all right, can you get him out? Can you get him out? But he wants to get going. He wants to be Mr. First Quarter again. And he was, I think, even at the end of the half where you have Bradley Beal throwing his beanie on the ground after he hits that 3 and just says, fuck you, Portland. I don't care that this is preseason. I don't care. We'll talk about it over and over again. I'm going to light you guys up. And that's where you can see, like, I thought maybe this team might take a month or two. I don't even know. Maybe a month to get things going, right?
The fluidity on offense looks pretty good.
I don't think so. I think this team is just ready to go. And it starts with him, man.
Mm-hmm.
He seems a little bigger out there. He does.
Yeah.
And he can still get his game, even with Kevin Durant, Nurkic going off. Like, he can still find his way. He'll just take over. And he's just going to be that guy, man.
He's the best two guard in the game, man.
It's insane.
The best two guard in the game.
None of it seems selfish either, right?
No.
None of it, like, so far.
Well, again, that's been the challenge with really good teams with really top end talent. It's a lot of the your turn, my turn kind of offense. It's some of the challenge sometimes with like the Boston Celtics. You have Jason Tatum and you have Jaylen Brown, and they kind of go your turn, my turn because they haven't had a great distributor in that system. With Marcus Smart there, that's not what they excelled at. And even with Drew Holiday, he's not a great facilitator of offense. But when you have multiple playmaking types, those archetypes, and then you throw in Nurkic on, again, with that fit, it opens up the offense and it allows fluidity to occur. And Devin Booker is already a naturally fluid player who you get him the ball and he can create his own space. And a lot of, with Bradley Beal, with Kevin Durant, with Devin Booker, they can create their own space. They can create their own shot. But now you put it with gravity around them and other players pulling them away. Booker is going to be so open this year. His 3-ball was looking fantastic. The way that he was open on certain plays, I'm like, dude, I haven't seen Devin Booker. It was happening last year when Kevin Durant came to the team, and we saw it in the playoffs. The reason that Devin Booker went apeshit in the playoffs is because Kevin Durant's out there with him. That's a half step a defender is away from him, and that's all it takes for an elite player like him to beat you is that half step. He's that good. These guys are going to be 2 steps off him for half the season, especially on a random, Thursday night in Houston. He's going to have the ability to just microwave, go off and do what he did tonight in a small amount of time. Like a lot of players on this team tonight, he really just turned it on in the second quarter. And it's because of that fluidity that we're talking about that we got to see it when the regular season counts. I get it. Preseason basketball is a lot different than preseason football. Preseason football, everything's vanilla. You're not showing anything. Preseason basketball, there's going to be a little bit more engagement because you're trying to it's just simply the nature of the
Well,
game.
how can you stop it anyways?
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah, it's like when we talked about like who's going to stop Giannis or Jokic, giving away Ayton or whatever, the defensive liability we are. It's like you guys, you can't stop these guys. So whatever Booker's doing out there where he's just settling for threes, basically, I just think there's going to be more aggressiveness from him, maybe. Dave and I were talking about the game. We're like, I thought he took a dip last year in free throws, but I guess it went up a little bit more, but it just seemed like he wasn't as aggressive. But I think the way he was like just kind of throwing himself off of certain players that kind of get like a cheap foul, that was always his thing. I don't know if he'll stick to that, but the lanes and stuff are just going to be wide open for this guy who was originally just a slasher, right? Basically, and a shooter. So he's going to probably go back to that more during the regular season, but it just shows you, like you said, a random Thursday night in Houston, he doesn't care. He's going to show up. He's going to make sure that we're up by 21 and go in the half.
Hell yeah. That's just Devin Booker style. And it was just great to see him out there again. And he did it obviously in the first game against Detroit, but I feel like there was just a lot more of him finding himself within the confines of this offense and playing some good defense as well. And that's another thing that's kind of low key. Not a lot of people talk about with Devin Booker. He competes on both ends at all times. He's not Donovan Mitchell in it out there. He's not trying to hide on defense. No, he's out there trying to defend and make an impact on the game on that side of the floor.
Yeah, no, I was going to say just really quick. It's weird how national media, like they're not on this team, which is good. And I know it's just preseason, whatever. But the way that Booker did play defense last year, I think just went under the radar. The way that Kevin Durant and Booker are named as like the best players in practice right now defensively, you just know it's going to be there, right? Protecting the rim is one thing, but everything else, I feel like they'll be okay. It's fine.
So there was one player who got a start tonight, played 30 minutes, and I want to get your thoughts on Nasir Little. As I mentioned, 30 total minutes played for Nasir Little, 5 points in those 30 minutes, only 2 of 5 from the field, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. What were your thoughts on Nasty Nas?
He does seem a little lost. So you'll hear in subreddit too. They did bring up some things like, oh, same old Little.
Okay.
Certain things he brought out there. He just seems lost. KBD is the other guy too, where they just don't fit in. It kind of seems forced. The shots and stuff, they seem like they're being took, but they're not. He doesn't believe in himself when he's shooting it, right? It's kind of what it reminds me of is just kind of like a Landry Shamet kind of thing out there. And this whole team is based off just belief in the maturity, the IQ, everything they have. They just back it up on the court. I just think he's just missing that. I don't feel like he feels like he fits. You know what I mean? And it's just a weird thing to watch, right?
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt. And it was interesting because obviously once we acquired him, I did my homework. I was watching a lot, and I've mentioned this before, like the Portland Trailblazers have one of the most rabid fan bases in the NBA. Yeah. And they have a ton of content out there. So if you're interested in anybody who came over in that trade, you can find everything. You can find 10 different takes. So, and that's how, generally when we get a new player, I try to find opposing points of view. People who are very pro him, people very anti him, people kind of in the middle, because I can take all that information and make my own opinion. I don't just watch one thing, go, that's my opinion now. You told me that he likes the color red, therefore I like the color red. Everybody who wears red is my favorite player now. You can't do that. You have to take in information and think about it and absorb it and then make your own decision. And as I watch different highlights and different things from Blazer content creators, inconsistency is a big one. A lot of talent, a lot of consistency. Somebody who can shoot the 3 ball, does like to attack the cylinder, but doesn't draw contact around the cylinder, so doesn't get to the free throw line a lot. Somebody who's a really bad off-ball defender. Somebody who's not necessarily a great off-ball offensive player as well. And that's, to your point, Matthew, that's kind of what we saw tonight. Because when I saw that starting lineup, I saw Eric Gordon was out there, and obviously Nurkic and Booker and Durant, and I'm like, oh, Little's going to be out there. This is going to be kind of exciting to see him play with these guys. And granted, I know that they're not going to be just dishing the ball to Nasir Little the whole game. Like, he's going to have to play the part of the role player, but he got some extra play after them, and we saw a little bit more of the same. Where, again, my recommendation to you, the Jamster, when Nasir Little's out there in these next couple games, because he will get play, just watch him off ball. Watch what he does off ball. It's not it's not. We talk about basketball IQ. It's not great basketball IQ moves that he's making. He's not trying to set a screen. He's not trying to duck a screen. He's not trying to come over. He's not trying to come under. He's just there. You know, and you mentioned Shamet. It's kind of Shamet really tried on the defensive end. Nasir Little's a little less. He is kind of Shamet-y on the offensive end.
Yeah, the shot. That's what I meant. Just the way the release and everything just not confident.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what happens when you're not fully engaged, and then all of a sudden someone throws his ball. You're like, oh shit, you know, and you're like, I know.
Yeah, he's like, I got to get this. I got to do something because coach put me in the starting lineup.
And that's the KBD problem too, right?
Yeah,
it's a forced thing. And again,
I
know it's just preseason. That should be like the name of the podcast. John Voida says, I know it's just preseason 37 times, but from a confidence standpoint, it's going to take some time for both Nasir Little, for KBD, to really just find who and what they are in the system. KBD had a couple really good plays tonight, and I feel like there's some progression there. And it's going to be progression that's going to occur throughout the season. It's not like, okay, 1 month in, all of a sudden KBD gets it. No, it's going to take him a while. The hope is he sharpens his skill set, and by the time the postseason rolls around, he knows what his role is, Jabroni, and he has the ability to contribute to the team in a positive manner because he understands what his role is and he's comfortable in executing what that role is.
Does he start next game, KBD?
I could definitely see that.
Yeah, I think he needs to. I think the thing they did with Little tonight was try to get him more exposure. I don't think their guys is like, hey, they're not going to play it all this season. I just think they're having a harder time than everybody else. You know what I mean? So,
I completely agree. Do you know what the elevation of Portland is?
Is it 5,000?
It doesn't matter.
Who cares?
5,000 what?
5,000 what? Centimeters? Get out of here with that shit. Well, you were somebody you were brave tonight, Matthew. You went to the subreddit of the Portland Trailblazers. Again, for those of you who are new to the show, it's something that we do every show. Is one of us during the game will actually be hanging out on the subreddit of the opposing team just to hear what they have to say about the Suns and their team and how everything's performing. This is the subreddit Stakeout.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit Stakeout.
Oh, you went as Elvis?
Yeah, the King's back. And Jen, you know what? Someone put in the chat last year about get better disguises. You want to spend money on disguises? So don't get us shit. Just have fun with this, all right? The comment we got.
The last game, I just wore I'm just gonna be wearing like sunglasses all year. Like all
right.
We'll try. I don't know.
Send us something. I don't know. Anyways. Okay, so I was talking about Nas. They did say Nas getting lost, just ball watching and committing a soft foul on the N1. Some things never change. Laugh my ass off. So yeah, you mentioned that they know how it is. I know there was some positivity about him, just his game and stuff. We kind of saw, but we haven't seen anything like that yet. Holy shit. Having an athletic center is cool. So they're excited about DA.
Okay, good.
They're excited.
Have fun.
I think DA slept with the Suns fans girl on the thread. Good grief. Because a lot of Suns fans are in there giving the shit. Yeah, there's a lot of deleted posts. I didn't see any of them really, but they kept commenting about it. I'm like, whatever.
We've started a movement, man.
And then this all sounds familiar. Here it is. Get Ayton a damn touch. All right.
Yeah, because that's you give him a touch, he passes right out of it, man.
Yeah, here we are. Yeah, and this is what we talked about too the last 5 years. Can I go 7 minutes into a quarter and finally let Ayton touch the ball one time?
God,
so that was the start of the first half, and I guess he only got one touch in 7 minutes. So yeah, we're used to that too. Nurkic touches the ball all the time. Shout out to Drew Banks. No Drew Banks tonight. Makes me sad. So they miss him. That's the one guy. I feel like that's the one guy. It's like they all miss. They're like, oh, everybody
loves their backup center.
Yeah, exactly. And a few guys at Portland fans forgot about that the Suns have. Oh shit, I forgot Watanabe, excuse myself, plays for the Suns now. So they're excited about him. And then forgot the Suns have Bol. So yeah.
A lot of the Suns forgot, or we forgot the Suns.
And we do the same thing too. We do the same thing too.
I forgot they had Malcolm Brogdon.
Yeah, I did too. And he's out there DA. So have fun with that, Malcolm. Last one, Nurk and KD got that chemistry. Damn. So yeah, we saw that too.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit Stakeout.
Few other notes that I had from this game. Udoka Azubuike. So Udoka Azubuike's obviously getting play. He's a two-way backup to the backup center. Maybe even backup to the backup center if we choose to go with Chimezie Metu as our backup to the backup center. But some of the notes that I wrote on him in his 22 minutes played, he had 5 points. He had 9 rebounds. He was 2 of 2 from the field. Really solid screener. But I think one of the challenges that he has in his screens is he just needs to commit to it. He needs to stand his ground because what he's doing is mid-screen, he's moving one of his legs and as he's leaning into the defenders coming through, and it's like that's some basic stuff, and that'll get called a lot. So if he just stands his ground, he's so big, you can lean without moving your feet, but like he starts to move his feet, and I was like, oh, you got to be careful on that. But it's an easy way to get called for a moving screen. But even him, watching Udoka Azubuike, like I don't mind him as a backup to the backup center. He's a two-way contract guy. He's big. He grabs boards. We don't need him to shoot, but if you need a little physicality, for a 5-minute run, he's somebody who can get out there. Kind of like Bismack was, he's more of a defender than an offensive player. Obviously, Bismack got a lot more playing time here because of our lack of depth at the 5. I like what I saw from Udoka Azubuike. What about you, Matthew?
Yeah, I didn't really. He kind of reminded me of like 2K when I used to play. It's like your first high school game, and you're just like your overall is like a 40. That's what he reminds me of. So I'm not. I mean, I think him playing against the second unit like that, it's fun for him. It's just kind of all over the place. I just don't really know what I'm watching. So that's my only real take from him. I'm sorry. I am a big fan though of Metu. Ted Offensive says Metu and Utah work well together. Yeah, I think so. I think those two off the bench are great. I kind of feel like, what are your thoughts on Metu? Just like, is he the third center, but he's like a stretch center? I don't know what he is. He's like a power forward. He's just a chill dude.
He's like a small ball 5 kind of guy. Like if you want to go small ball for a little bit, he can shoot the 3. He was 1 of 3 from the field. He had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal all in 18 minutes. Another productive performance from Chimezie Metu. And I enjoyed watching him. And yeah, I think that him and Yuta, the way that they kind of play out there is they can spread the floor. You're compromising yourself when it comes to defensive rebounding with those guys. But if you're looking to just kind of spread the floor and take advantage of second and third team defenses by having some offensive firepower, that's always the strategy that you have to look at. And it's something that it's going to be really interesting to watch this team because with Frank Vogel as a head coach, he's a defensively minded head coach, but you have some really good offensive players on the bench. So what does your strategy become defensively? Okay, we're going to shut down their second team by playing hard-nosed defense, or are we going to just try to outscore them and then we wait for reinforcements in the bigger, better deal, Booker, Beal, and Durant to come back into the game? And with the talent like those guys, you're not going to get great defense, but you're definitely going to get great offense.
Yeah, that's true. And then you also had another guy too that first time playing with the Suns, Goodwin.
Jordan Goodwin. That's my next question. What were your thoughts? He was probably the guy I was most excited to see tonight because he was finally back. I liked what I saw from Jordan Goodwin. 3/4 court defense. He's picking up guys 3/4 court. I'm like, oh man, remember Javon Carter days? We used to put pressure on opposing teams defensively. Jordan Goodwin's that type. He has the ability to get to his spot, to shoot, to facilitate a little bit. He's a nice player to have.
Yeah, he's a little booger. He gets in there quick, man. He can take the ball away from you without you even noticing. He did it a few times to scoot, but he's perfect. I think he's better than Saben Lee. Saben Lee was my guy. Now I'm seeing Jordan Goodwin. I'm like, dude, guy plays big. He just knows what to do out there.
I already like him more than Saben Lee.
Yeah, he's like talking with Nurkic on the bench, and I'm just like, those two guys together, they just understand this team. I don't know, like they understand what this team wants and needs from them. And they're just going to give it to you as long as they're healthy. I just think that Goodwin's a guy that's going to come in, like you said, to play good defense. But he did such a good job getting to the rim multiple times, man.
Yeah.
Like
he's quick.
Yeah, I loved him, man. I'm very excited to see more of that guy. These pods might have to be like 2 hours long, dude, because there's so many guys to talk about. So
many players. Jordan Goodwin, 15 minutes played. He had 9 points in that 15 minutes. He was 4 of 6 from the field, including 1 of 2 from beyond the arc. Had 2 assists, had 2 steals, had 2 rebounds. He had a block as well. A very productive 15 minutes from Jordan Goodwin. And I'm already trying to think, like, what the hell's his drop going to be? And it'll come in time. I have a feeling those backup defensive players typically are guys who, as the season progresses, they start to take on a certain personality and then boom, And all it really takes, Matthew, is you and me going to a game and watching a team, and we just start to come up with nicknames as we're sitting there just cheering.
Yeah.
So, quick, I want to shout out Black Sunday in the chat. Dropped a super chat for $5. Thank you ever so much, Black Sunday. The more we do that, the more we can get. Matthew, what we're going to buy you at the beginning of the pod? New headphones or some shit?
I think so.
I don't remember. Can we now admit we fleeced the Blazers and Bucks in that trade? Nurk was alone an upgrade at the 5 position, and we got Grayson. Time will tell, my friend. But again, I like the pieces that came back in that trade. You have engaged pieces who both have been through the first 3 preseason games, been proving their worth and their value. And that's what's important. And their engagement. Rather than DA, unengaged DA, we got 2 guys who are engaged and just facilitating, playing physical, doing all those things. Last note I had, Keon. What?
Go ahead.
What?
I was trying to hold. I was about to say. I wanted to say something, but
say something. Say something.
No, I was going to say. All I was going to say was, it's not too. I think you can kind of tell how this is going to work already. I just, you know what I mean, like. These guys, they're grown adults. They're playing the NBA for forever, right? Nurkic is a veteran. They know what to do. It's going to look kind of like this. And it's okay to say that the Suns might have won the trade already, right? As soon as we traded DA, everyone was saying that the fucking Trailblazers got what they wanted in DA.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, based off of what? So based off of 2 games with Nurkic or 3 games, whatever, I can see it. So it's okay. Let's just have some fun. Let's enjoy it.
Okay. I guess you're right. Let's have some fun. Let's enjoy it. Keon Johnson, I love how 45 looks on a jersey.
Yeah. Oh, and really quick, Portland, the 90s, is it? I think Brogdon was 92. I love the 90 numbers on Portland Trailblazers jerseys. And yeah. 45, always looking good.
Malcolm Brogdon, is it me or does it look like he's 38 years old?
Isn't he 38? How old is he?
He's not 38. I'll tell you that. Come on, I thought you knew everything, Matthew. How old is Malcolm Brogdon?
Was he 29?
That's a good guess. Let's
That's
see.
how old everybody is in the NBA.
I'll Google. I feel like he's not that old. Yeah, like I feel like 28 or something. He's 30. He's almost 31,
okay.
But he looks 38. Thoughts on Scoot Henderson?
His stat line looked really good, but the game, the actual eye test, I'm just like, I don't see anything yet. He did put up some good stats against our bench. But he has a little bit to go. And subreddit, they're excited about him. There's a lot more growth, but they're ready to just sit down and watch some Blazers basketball. That might suck for a while for him to actually grow and to be more of a leader with that team.
22 points in 31 minutes played. He had 4 assists. He had 4 rebounds. He had 6 turnovers. His first step is elite. He is quick, man. He gets by you fast. And he's confident around the rim. He has the float game going on. The kid's only 19. Somebody who is definitely going to be. He looks 38 too, man.
He's like the DA face, which is an older face.
Oh man, seeing DA when he said like "fuck the Suns" or whatever he said, just like it was right after he had blocked the ball. He got a nice block, and then they subbed him out. And he's walking around. I was like, yeah, fuck them. I'm fucking dominating, you son of a bitch. And then like 2 minutes later, they sub back in because they suck.
I know. Yeah, I was gonna ask too. Did Jamsters anybody see him actually or hit up Book or KD before the game, like before tip off?
No, I saw somebody
they
tweeted
walked by each other.
He said hi to everybody, or he said hi to only Eric Gordon, which makes sense because they were just teammates.
That's what we saw, though.
That's
but
what
I just don't know if there's other camera angles of him and Book.
Who was at the game, Jamsters?
Yeah, it looked like they just kind of like bumped shoulders, kind of in between Nurkic a little bit or something.
Feel free to email us at sunsjamsession@gmail.com.
Jam Star of the Game.
Right, Jamsters, a reminder to subscribe, rate, and review, or don't. I don't give a shit. Let us know in the chat who your Jam Star of the Game was. Matthew, I'll let you go first this time.
Oh man, I'm gonna go Nurkic. It might have been Gordon, but I'm gonna go Nurkic because he showed up D8 tonight to make us feel good.
Yes.
So thank you, Nurkic.
Completely agree. Suns Fever 83 agrees with you as well. It was Nurk. It was Nurkalicious. Ted Offensive, he's going to go with Gordon because, yeah, Gordon was massive in this game. He was productive. And then Daniel Berry Sports Highlight just goes, yo.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I go with Nurk in this game easily. I think that what he brought, that was the most exciting part of the game, was just see him pick apart the preseason Portland Trailblazers. But still, you'd rather see that than see DA on your team. All right, looking at the next game for the Phoenix Suns, guess who we're playing, Matthew?
The DA-less Blazers, right?
Most likely. I'm guessing I got like a 90% probability that DA is not going to play in this game. But up next Monday, so enjoy your long weekend, Jamsters. Monday, 7 p.m., we will be playing against the Portland Trailblazers, this time at home here in Phoenix. Any thoughts on this game, or just like roll it back?
You know, if DA does play, I kind of want Nurk to sit. I want to go out on a high note and not come back Monday night and be like, fuck, dude, DA just fucked us in the ass so hard this game. I don't want that for my reputation. All right.
There's no way that he'll do it. There's no, like, you can count on DA.
Know. But that's the thing with DA. We still have that in the back of our head. We're like, all right, he might do it.
He has the ability, but he doesn't
care to. Yeah, I want Nurk to kind of sit this one out. I want all the starters to sit, and I want to see more of Jordan Goodwin. Maybe even starting too. I think him
start
playing
Bol.
Yeah, just do
it. Bol at the 5
8 minutes and go to overtime. Play another 5.
Vogel should fuck that. Vogel should just NBA 2K this thing. All right, he's like, I got Keita Bates-Diop at the 3.
Yeah,
we're gonna put Eubanks at the 4 and Bol at the 5. Point guard Jordan Goodwin. And you know what? Just because we can't get enough of him apparently this fucking preseason, let's give us some more Saban Lee. Like, just keep shoving Saban Lee down our goddamn throats.
He just wants to score every time. Yeah. Right? I thought he was more a facilitator. No. I don't see it at all. He is just tunnel vision, man. Yikes.
Yeah, 100%. And that's always been kind of my challenge with him. He's a great offensive player, but he's not a distributor. And people are like, well, he's a good backup point guard. I'm like, is he? I don't know. I think that's all we got for this here podcast. Is there anything that I'm missing?
Utah. It looks good. Okay. I can't. That's why I say Watanabe, because I can never say Utah. I always say Utah.
Go Utah. Like
Utah. Yeah.
Say it's like Y-U-D-A. Utah.
Okay.
Like
I know,
Utah
man. Mess it up. I know. I do.
It's
that
like
all
my
the
last name. Like if you read my last name, it says Voita, but you actually say it's Voita. It's like
Utah.
It sounds like it's a D. Utah.
I'm
man.
gonna forget it next time.
Go. You know what you should do? You should simply just call him. Instead of trying to go Utah or anything like that, just call him the Shooter.
Utah, the
Shooter!
I fucking love that drop.
That's the best, because I just picture the guy getting pulled into the Raptor cage, and then there's like a big fucking rave going on in there because like him and the Raptor just fucking going crazy with the music.
Oh, it's so good. He played for the Raptors too. That's Watanabe did. So. All right. Well, I guess it is a small world. I guess on that note, Jamsters, we'll see you next Monday right here on the Suns Jam Session podcast. Make sure you don't subscribe, you don't rate, you don't review, you don't give us a thumbs up, you don't give us a thumbs down, and you don't give us 5 stars, you don't write us a review on Apple Podcasts, because it's only the preseason. That's all I got to say. Matthew, anything else to add?
Don't go home and love your family.
Don't go home and love your family.